Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Neve and I'd love to give you all a very warm welcome. Happy New Year! It is now 2025, so I thought that I'd go through the books that I read in 2024. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit slow on the books in 2024, but do you know what something 2024 has taught me? It has taught me a lot of things, but it has taught me that I can go at my own pace. That's the mindset I'm going into 2025 with, that I should go at my own pace and not compare myself to others and how at the speed they're going, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but hopefully it does. Also guys, I'm just going to put this out here, my radiator is a bit dirty. I need to get some paint to repaint it, but it does have some other paint on it and nail varnish. But I am on the process of sorting it out. When I say I got off to a bit of a slow start, I was in a major reading slump at the beginning of the year. So I finished off 2023. The last book I read was Flawless, and that was finished on the 27th of October, and I didn't pick up another book until the 22nd of February. The 22nd of February. So that is a major reading slump for me, but that's a long story for another day. So the first book that I read in 2024 was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. This is the third book in the ACOTAR series. If you guys know me, you know how much I have fallen in love with this series and the world of fantasy and fantasy romances. Like, oh, it's just a lovely place to be. When you read it, you go to another world. It's just so good. A Court of Wings and Ruin follows Feyre again on her journey through this new world that she has been brought into, but this time she plays a game of Rouge, I think that's the word. So she goes undercover and leaves the night court. She goes back to Tamlin. I don't want to spoil anything else, but yeah, she's gone undercover, but she really just wants to be with Rhysand. She just wants to go through all the cobwebs and the twists and turns of deceit, lies, secrets, and just find out what's happening. Yeah, like the tagline on the top says, Feyre will bring vengeance, and that she did. So I gave A Court of Wings and Ruins a 5 out of 5 star. But if you've known my journey with this series, you know that is no surprise. So for the next book, I started that the same time as A Court of Wings and Ruin because it was a big book, so I was like, maybe I can start it at the same time just to get my clear my head a bit. So yes, I started it the 22nd of February and I finished it the 31st of March, and that book is the first book in the Bridgerton series, The Duke and I. This is by Julia Quinn. I'm sure that everyone knows that this book series is what inspired the Netflix show, which is so good, by the way. Can't wait for the next series. So the premise of The Duke and I, it follows Simon Bassett and Daphne Bridgerton. So him being the Duke, she being the eldest daughter of the Bridgerton family. I watched the series before reading the book, so when it came to reading it, it did throw me off slightly that they went a different branch from the actual book. But I wasn't complaining. It's TV. They have to dramatise everything up for target audiences, haven't they? Even though there is a slight difference with some of the characters from the series to the book, I was still able to go in and read it and get transported to this Bridgerton universe. And when I was reading it, of course I had to have the picture of these two, especially Simon. Oh, the Duke. I remember when that first series came out of Bridgerton, everyone wanted a piece of the Duke. I don't know if I made this up, but was there an Instagram about the spoon? No? You're probably thinking, sitting there going, get on with your books. Probably. Okay, I'll get back onto it. But all in all, I really enjoyed this first book and I can't wait to get the different books in the series and follow along with this universe and family. So I gave The Duke and I 4 out of 5 stars. For the next book, I went a bit different. I thought I'll try something else, like a different genre. So I went for like a mystery sort of drama sort of thing. It's really hard to describe, but that book is The Three Dahlias, and this is by Katie Watson. Basically, when reading this, I felt like I was watching like the Alibi channel in the UK, one of those TV shows like you've got Your Father Brown, Death in Paris, like them sort of things. But it was good. So there is a TV show, and there is 3 different decades that it has been produced in. So that's 3 different women that have played the character of Dahlia Lively. And there's a convention, and then there's like a murder, and then these ladies, even though they're actresses, they come together to try and find out what has happened and who did it. Not gonna lie, there was times where I did find it quite hard to get into, but once everything was happening, I was like, okay, I need to know. What I liked about it is it was, for me personally, there was some obvious signs, but it wasn't that obvious that you'd be like, oh, I know who's done it, like there's no point to reading on. But it was good, and there was a little bit of romance in there, not gonna lie, but I like a little bit of romance. So this is the first book in the Three Dahlias mysteries. I didn't know it was a series when I bought it until putting it on my Goodreads. But yes, so I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know really what it was for me. I think some of it was sometimes the characters. There was a few that they were just a little bit annoying, just a little bit, but it was a good book. Then the next book that I picked up for 2024, again, I started it on the same day as the Three Dahlias, and I finished this on the 4th of April, and that book was Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. This is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. I don't know if I did a video or anything when I read the fine print, but if I didn't, I've really enjoyed the first book and Lauren Asher's writing and her storytelling, and I just couldn't wait to get into this one. So this one follows Declan, and Declan is the oldest brother, and he has his own task that his grandpa has set him, and with that tasks comes in Iris, his assistant, and they have a sort of a contract wedding. I think that's what it is, a contract wedding. Oh my goodness, I adored this book. Iris, oh my god, as a character, I loved her. I think she was just such a good character to read, and her writing of that character, oh my goodness, was so good. I also enjoyed Declan. It was also really nice having the characters from the first book coming into this book, of how this family sort of intertwined with each other, and they're just really there to support one another, and they just want everyone to succeed. The next book that I read, I started on the 4th of April and then I finished it on the 6th, and that book was Finale by Stephanie Garber. This is the last book in the Caraval series. So Finale follows on from the ending events of Legendary. So the Fates have been freed and Legend has like taken over. So it's really about Scarlet and Tella trying to get back to how it was and find out what is happening, make everything right again. So again, this one mainly follows Tella, I want to say. Scarlet does play a part. Scarlet has her, it's like they both have their own sort of separate stories, but they come together, come to the end, these stories intertwine and interlink again. So that's quite nice. It was quite nice. You got to see a lot of the true colours of some of these characters, like Legend, story following her mother's side of what's happened. Right, this might be a bit controversial because I know so many people loved this book, but for me personally, it wasn't my favourite. It was a good book, don't get me wrong. There was just some bits I was a bit like, I was like, it's not that I was getting bored. I was just a bit like, if you know what I mean. I did give it its fair shot and I did read it. And it's not like I didn't like it. I did like reading it and everything, but it was just, there was just moments. It just wasn't my favourite, that's all I can say. It's not like I did not like it, just I preferred some of the other books. But if you loved it, I am so happy for you. Like, you found a really good book and a series that you enjoy. So I gave Finale 3 out of 5 stars. Apologies for the lighting difference. I went to go and sit down with Una halfway through filming previously, but I'm back here to film the rest. So I've got my ring light just to help with some of the lighting. So apologies for that. So after Finale, I read By the Book. This is by Jasmine Guillory. Hopefully that's how you pronounce it. I do apologise if I butcher any of these authors' names. I started this on the 4th of April and I finished it on the 11th. So By the Book is just such a sweet story. I really enjoyed this. By the Book follows Isabel. She works in publishing. She feels like she's not being seen or getting the credit she deserves. She wants a promotion. She just wants to move on with her job because she loves it. So Isabel gets the opportunity to work with Bo Towers with his book and completing his book. So Bo is an athlete. I would say he is a grumpy to sunshine. He just does not want to complete this book, and Isabella uses all her power and might to help him finish the book. But yeah, and it's just a really cute story how you see this relationship form between them. It was just a lovely read, honestly, and it was like a fast pace. Like, I felt like I got through this really quickly, and it was just like not reading a book really. It was really nice and cute. I gave By the Book 4 out of 5 stars. Then after By the Book, I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. My goodness, guys. I love this book. Like, when I read it, it was just so good. So good. So I started Happy Place on the 14th of April and I finished it on the 21st. I could not put this book down. When I was having a break from reading, that was all I was thinking about. I was like, I just need to get back into it and see what's happening. So Happy Place follows 2 characters, Harriet and Wyn. They are ex-partners, but their friends don't know they've split up. They have to get through this friends vacation, having to convince them that they're still together, having this sort of fake relationship. But also within it, there is a lot happening with the friend group as well, which is it was such a lovely breath of fresh air. So it wasn't just focused on Harriet and Wyn. You also had what was going on with these secondary characters, which was really nice. It was just a lovely book, and I did have a little tear a bit, but these characters, oh my goodness, Wyn and Harriet, oh my gosh. It was just such a good book. Oh, such a good book. So I gave Happy Place 5 out of 5 stars. So the next book that I read was King of Wrath. This is by Anna Huang. If you have seen my Twisted Love series review, you would know that I really enjoyed Anna Huang's writing and her storytelling, and especially from the Twisted games. So this follows Dante and Vivian. They are both on the higher side of wealth and society. One is of old money and another is from new money. Dante and Vivian are put together for an arranged marriage, and it just goes through how they build that relationship, how they have this enemies to lovers sort of thing. There's like just a grudge between them and how they come together. But yeah, it was quite a nice, cute read. One thing I did notice when reading these books, they follow a sort of same pattern story-wise as the Twisted Love series, which was quite nice because it was like, oh, I know it's going to follow lots of different secondary characters and they all come up in these books. So that was quite nice to read and have a bit of nostalgia there, if that is even the right word. I gave King of Wrath 4 out of 5 stars. Next I read King of Pride by Anna Huang. This is the second book in the King of Sin series. This book follows Kai and Isabella, Kai being the higher of society and Isabella being an author but also having to work part-time jobs to help afford her life and write her book. So in this universe, the high society have this members club, and Isabella works there. There's a rule that there can't be any members and staff members fraternization, but that rule sort of gets broken as the story goes on. That's where Kai and Isabella sort of seem to bond over more and more at this club, and then the rest is history, as they say. I gave King of Pride 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J Maas. So this, how it is on Goodreads, I don't know how to say in the series, but it's book 3.5. So this follows Farah as she experiences her first winter solstice, especially as a high lady and in her position now. So she's with the guys from the night court and everything, and her sisters, and yeah, they're just celebrating winter time really, so like their equivalent to Christmas, which is quite a nice little read. I gave A Court of Frost and Starlight 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. This is the first book in the Shatter Me series. It is my first sort of dystopian. This series was recommended to me by my cousin, and after many times for saying read it, I bought the series from the works because it was on offer. I really enjoyed this actually. I read it really quickly. I got through it quite quickly. I think I started it on the same day I finished it. I don't know how, but it just read that well to me. There were some bits I was just a bit like, I don't know if that's for me, but I just enjoyed it overall. The characters, the story behind it, and everything that followed. So the main girl in this is Juliet. She has been held captive for such a long time. So the reason why Juliet is captive, she has these powers, and basically the whole establishment, I don't know if that's the right word, want to use her as a weapon essentially, but she's like no. So her and Adam, who comes in at the beginning as another captive, and they try and get away from it. So that's how that story follows, but it was really good and I really enjoyed it. I gave Shatter Me 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Heartless. This is the second book by Elsie Silver in the Chestnut Springs series. Since reading Flawless, I have really gotten into this sort of cowboy Wild West sitch, you know. So Heartless follows Willa and Cade. So Willa comes to help Cade nanny his son. He is a bit older than her, but there is just a spark there, and she's like, I know there is a spark there, and there's like flirtations and everything. It just follows how Willa is helping out at the ranch looking after Cade's son, and how they are brought together. Cade has his own reservations when it comes to this flourishing relationship and everything. He's got things to worry about. They have a contract, so Willa is there for a certain amount of time to help out. But will that contract last? I gave Heartless 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this one. Then next I read Final Offer. This is the last book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. This one follows Callahan and Alana. So as the previous 2 books of this series shows, Callahan is a very grumpy, a very pessimistic man. He has his own issues that he needs to work through, but he never seems to break his habits. As again from the previous books, Callahan is given a task by his grandfather to sell the old house, but when he turns up, his ex-girlfriend is living there with her niece, and there's a whole conflict because he wants to sell the house and she's like, I live here, what am I gonna do? And from it there is old feelings that flourished up again. Also having these conflicts, Callahan is reminded of the past, of the relationships and everything. Also the issues surrounding his habits plays a part. I really enjoyed this book. It was like a redemption story for how he acts in the previous books, because he is just a secondary character, but he does play a part in those as well. So it was quite nice seeing him sort of get his life together and realise what he wants essentially. I gave Final Offer 4 out of 5 stars. After that I had a break. I got into another book slump and I didn't pick up a book until August. So we went from May to August, and that August book was Hooked. So this is by Emily McIntyre. This is like a retelling of some Disney classics. So this one is a Peter Pan retelling, but instead of having Peter Pan, you've got Hook and Wendy, which, not gonna lie, it did take me a while to get my head around that without thinking of the film Peter Pan. This is part of the Never After series, so there are other retellings following on. I don't know if this gets classed as a dark romance, I'm not too sure. So this follows James. If you don't know, Hook's real name in Peter Pan, it was James. Also Wendy. James is like a bad boy. He has a gang, he owns this bar. Wendy is this innocent girl, but her family aren't really innocent, if that's the best way to describe. So this reminded me slightly of Twisted Love. I don't know why, it just did. I think with the content in that, it could be quite similar to this. But yes, I really enjoyed it. I never read a retelling before, or one that was obvious to me, if that makes sense, but I really enjoyed it. I gave Hooked 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book that I read was Dalagat Dream Department Store. This is by Mai Lee. It is translated by Sandy Joo-sun Lee. So I have never read a translated book before, or an international book, but I really enjoyed this. Just a feel-good book. It was just such a feel-good story, like these dreams and everything. It was just really cute, and I really loved all the characters in this. They were just like, it's like, I just wanted to work there. I just wanted to work there. And the attire for day to day was your pajamas. Hello, I'm always in loungewear and pajamas, so it's like my dream place to be. So Dalagat Dream Department Store follows Penny as she has an interview and then gets the job at this department store. So people go and buy their dreams for sleep, and these dreams have different meanings and different outcomes and different wishes, and they've got all these different floors for all the different types of dreams. So it was quite an interesting read as well. But even the owner of the department store, Dalagat, he was just funny at times. He made me giggle, he did. But I would highly recommend it, getting this, guys, if you just want a feel good quick read. I gave Dalagat Dream Department Store 4 out of 5 stars. So the next book I'm about to show was one of my longest to read throughout the year. So I started it on the 9th of August and I finished it on the 7th of November. So that is like a good 2 months nearly. And that book was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. This took me so long, but do you know what? It was so worth it. So this one's slightly different. So all the previous 3 books followed Farah, Rhysand and the Night Court and everything going on there. This one followed Nessa and Cassian, and you know what, it was so nice to get that different point of view. So ever since Nessa has joined her sister and the Night Court with her other sister, she has just not been very happy being there. Everything's just dawning on her, everything's taking its toll. She is called upon to help out with the future fight, to help save the Night Court and help keep the allyship that they've got going and the safety net they have around this little village safe. So Nessa is drawn upon to train with Cassian. She's not happy about it, she doesn't want to be there, and she makes it very obvious. But she also has a little job going as well in the library, which brings her some peace to everything happening and gets her to meet some new people. And then you've got Cassian. He is smitten with this girl, I tell ya. He does come across annoyed when she don't want to train, but you can tell that he just fancies the socks off her. But yeah, and that was really cute to see their little relationship blossom. They definitely weren't enemies to lovers, or very unrequited turned requited love story. So it was such a nice book, and as I said, it was so nice to have that second point of view of the story. I gave A Court of Silver Flames 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book I read was a nostalgic one for me, because it's one I read in secondary school and I only read the first book of that series, but I was like, let's give it a go. And that book is the first book in the Gallagher Girls series. This is by Ali Carter, and this one is called I Tell You I'd Love You, but then I'd Have to Kill You. So this one follows Cami and her mum. Mum is headmistress of a spy girls school, which has the disguise of being like a preppy school, or like a very preppy school and everything. So on one mission, Cammy has to go into town, then she goes and falls for a boy, so she has to keep up this facade and everything. It just tells a story of how they're like teenage girls and they're like having all their crushes and everything. So it's quite just a nice sort of chill read. But as I said, it's sort of a nostalgic one for me because I have read this one before, but I've never finished the series. I gave Gallagher Girls book 1, I Tell You I Love You But Then I'd Have to Kill You, 3 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is quite a hyped one at the moment, and that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Can I just say, dragons, I never knew I needed dragons in my life. Fourth Wings follows Scarlet as she joins the Flyer Quadrant of this military college. She thought she was going to be joining the Scribes, but her mother said, no, you're going to join this one because our family's always had people in the Flyer ones. And then she meets Xaden, and there's like they're meant to be enemies, but there is that attraction she has. I just really enjoyed these characters as a whole. You had Violet, she's quite quiet and she gets all this confidence and strength, like, and she tells herself she can do it, and she does it essentially. And I really enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to read Iron Flame. Also, I cannot wait for Onyx Storm to come out. I have seen everything on TikTok and I'm going, please don't let it be true, please. I gave Fourth Wing 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Better Than Movies by Lynn Painter. So this follows enemies to lovers, next door neighbours, they grew up together their whole life. Better Than the Movies follows Liz and Wes. As said, they've been neighbours all their life, they've got a rivalry going on, until one day they have to come together, for Liz has got a plan. Her crush has moved back to town, she wants him, and she gets Wes to play her fake boyfriend under this sort of contract, like fake relationship thing. It does follow a very much rom-com base, and you know what, I was here for it. I love a good rom-com, and it was just such a cute book. It was such a cute book. I gave Better Than the Movies 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book that I read was Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. So this, I believe, is her YA. So this follows Mallory and Nolan, and if you have read Ali Hazelwood books before, they follow a very much study, sciencey, mathy base, if that makes sense. So this time it's chess, so that's quite a mathematical game and strategic as well. I loved Mallory's character and how she wanted to just do everything for her family and put them first for her. And then Nolan comes in. He is a chess geek, but he's like, I just play chess, but he's like he's so inexperienced, bless him, with everything. And do you know what, seeing their relationship was quite nice, because it was like they were made for one another. They were made for one another, these two, and how Mallory found her love for chess again and everything. And I didn't even really know the rules and all that about professional chess, and I learned that from this book a little bit. I gave Check and Mate 4 out of 5 stars. Then the next book I read was You've Reached Sam, and this is by Dustin Tao. So the main premise follows Julie. She was with Sam, but then Sam sadly died in a car accident, and she's going through the grieving process and just sort of keeping to herself, not wanting to go out and show her face a lot. Then she's met with some judgment. This has definitely got a paranormal aspect. So basically she ends up phoning Sam's phone number and he miraculously answers. They don't know how he can do it or why he can do it or why they're able to talk to each other. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't my favourite. At some points I did find Julie a bit annoying. It was a good book, and some of the relationships she makes in this is really nice as well. So I gave You Reach Sam 3 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read in 2024 was Hold Back the Stars. This is by Katie Khan. I have never read anything by Katie Khan before. I've never really heard her as an author before, but I was like, let's give it a go. So basically this is set in a very sci-fi modern future. So every few years everyone has to move to different rotations, and this is just life now. And there is a rule that you can't get married until you're 35 because they think independence and freedom is such a good thing. They put it in place, but you can still have intimate relations. Karis and Max, they are ex-partners. They are a couple of people who did have a relationship. They had to keep a secret, but they are trapped in space, and they have got 90 minutes until essentially they die. So they're trying to save themselves to get back to their ship, and within this it goes back and forth to flashbacks to the past, to where they are stuck in space, counting down, reflecting on their life together. What was interesting about this is that it had 3 alternative endings, and I was not expecting that when it came to this book. So there we have it. They were all the books that I read in 2024. For 2025, I have put my goal up to 50. I'm challenging myself this year, and I think I can do it. I think, and I'm sure I will do it. Let me know if you have read any of those books and what you thought of them. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe so you can check out more of my videos. I apologise if I didn't explain any of the books very well. It has been a while since I read some of them from the beginning of the year, but that is one of my things this year. I'm gonna write a quick thing in a snippet or something in my notes on my phone when I finish the books, so that when it comes to doing this at the end of this year, I have some more things to go off. I wish you guys a very happy and healthy 2025, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.